Welcome to part 2. Let's not waste any time, get straight into it. This is continuing on the installation of this retro sound radio in the XC Falcon. Okay, welcome to the car. The dashboard, obviously where the radio is going. You can see that slot in there is where that bracket goes in that supports the radio. Plus you've got your two mounting points at the front. So yeah, it should be supported as normal, as per an ordinary radio. So we'll whack that in now, just see how it fits in there. Make sure we've got enough clearance. There's plenty of space there for wiring and everything to go through the back. I've pulled the dash out. That's the existing wiring that was on the radio that was in here when I got the car, which is pretty dodgily done, so that'll be all removed and properly done for this radio. But I plan to make it long enough to bring it through there, so we can do it with ease. Plug it in and plug it out. So I'll whack that in now, just see what it looks like sitting in situ, and we'll go from there. Alright, so that's a mock-up, how it's going to sit in the console. That's all screwed in, pretty solid. Pad underneath it's supplied on the new radio sits nice and flush. That back plate I put in off the original radio is locked in, and you've got your two front screws there. So yeah, very solid, seems good. So from now we will work out the new wiring harness for this stereo. I'm not going to show you the process of doing that. Then we'll plug it all in and put it back together. Okay, up to the wiring now. I wasn't going to go too much into the wiring, but just wanted to show you a couple of little things that I've got that I haven't tried out yet, so they could be pretty cool. Got this little kit last year. You see it come up on Facebook and eBay all the time. I think it was about 20 bucks for the kit. I thought I'd give them a go, see how they work. They look pretty good. So did a practice one last night, just on a bit of wire, and I can't pull that apart. It's fairly short, but yeah, and then I've just sort of cut into it as well, to see how well the solder went through the wire, and yeah, it looks pretty good. So they should be pretty good. Just use a ciggy lighter to heat that up, and yeah, holds pretty good, so pretty happy with those. So I will use those. There's the wiring harness that comes with the radio. You can see it's got all the connection points there, as well as the book there. I've just blown it up so I can take that in the car while I'm out there. Makes it a little bit larger, and I'm hoping the old Clarion stereo that was in the car is wired up right, so I can just use the existing speakers and go to where I need to go. Alright, so we'll do that, and I'll show you the wiring harness once I've put it in, and then hopefully we'll be ready to test it. Well, here we are, all wired up. There's the wiring harness, so plenty of room to plug that in, and then feed it back through with the stereo, and then we'll tidy up inside there once the wiring goes through. But yeah, all went fairly straightforward. The existing speaker wires, I checked that they were all where they were supposed to be, so they're all hooked up properly. And I was lucky enough to find some disused plugs, which were accessory and permanent power, which was great. And wired them in with spades, and these little weldable sockets. These guys, they're brilliant. They work really well for all those connections. Yeah, very happy with those. So I guess now we got to plug her in and switch her on, and fingers crossed. Alright, there we have it. She's in. All sitting pretty nicely, looks pretty good. Turn the ignition on might help. So just a bit more tidying up to do. with the wiring. And there we go, so I'll have to read the manual on how to...
Just be you, screams the label on your shampoo bottle. Just be you, cries your deodorant. Because you're worth it.
Yeah, so pretty happy with that. The only thing I'm not sure about is that probably drive me insane when we're driving along if it rattles, so I can't see that can be any tighter. Apart from that, everything else is pretty good. Like, yeah, it fits in there really well. Looks very similar to the old radio, all the original fascia, so overall very happy. Alright, the final part, just stick that little fella on there. It's a lot easier to stick that on more than likely when the radio's out rather than it being in the console. It's quite hard to try and get it straight and bubble free whilst it's in the dash, so if you decide to stick that decal on the front of the stereo there, do it before you put it in, because afterwards, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to put in. So just went for a drive, had a test run, everything seems to be working fine. A little bit weird having that sticker in front of your digital when it pops up. At night it'd be no issues, and I guess it depends how you want it to look. When the car's off, I'd prefer it to look like a standard radio, so it doesn't really worry me too much at this stage. But overall, yeah, everything's back in great, works really well. I did talk to the GT Performance warehouse about these. They suggested to shim them somehow. I tried to make up some little tiny shims, but it tightened it up, and when you turn this one, that one turned as well. So I'm just going to look for something really minute, even like a straw perhaps, because that's all it needs to tighten them up, to cut them and put them in. So overall, that's it. Install the new radio. All good. Talk to you next time.